money is actually very easy to make. And if you have a gift or you have a service or you have any idea, that can be translated into money. So it's what you can create. So whether you have something that you can teach, whether it's something that you can build, whether it's something you can, anything you can do can be converted into money. So that experience, I just realized how easy it was to make money. And from then I was making like a lot of money. Like I think when my friends were trying to figure out their first job, I was already making like a pretty good amount of money doing nothing, like selling things on eBay, like collecting memorabilia, looking for like antiques and doing like random things, and like working maybe like an hour 2 hours a day, like just living in complete flow. But it's just that concept of abundance, that it's there for everyone. It doesn't mean that if I have some, someone else has less, and anything can be converted into money.
Hey guys, today's guest is someone who's not just good at growth, she's completely changed the game. Marisha Lakhiani is the Chief Growth Officer at Mindvalley, one of the most powerful personal growth platforms in the world. She has helped scale it to over $150 million in revenue by leading breakthrough strategies in marketing, subscriptions, and more. Marisha mixes data, psychology, and creativity in a way that actually drive results, not just clicks. She has spoken at places like Google, Meta, and AdWorld, and today she's here with us. And I can't wait to dive into everything from brand building to smart scaling. Marisha, it's a really, really honor to interview you. Thank you for joining.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited.
Thank you, Marisha. Marisha, before we go into the questions, where can people connect with you?
I'm more on Instagram, so Marisha Lakhiani on Instagram, and that's my handle.
Okay, thank you, Marisha. So let's jump into the questions. So the first question is, what's a common piece of advice about entrepreneurship you completely disagree with based on your own journey?
I personally think the whole concept of hustle and hard work. Like when I first started out, I made a commitment to myself that I was going to work harder than anyone in the company and I was going to be MVP, which I did. And I got MVP like multiple years in a row. And I just kept getting promoted, and I worked hard for it. So I think like no one could deny that I deserve to be there. Um, but I think as I've learned along the way and as I've matured, I realized that it's not just hard work. It's also just kind of tapping into your own inner knowing, like your own intuition. So it's kind of combining your technical skill with also your spiritual side and kind of merging both. And I think the difference is this. The difference is like when you're hustling, you're just trying to do everything. You're trying to do all of it. You're trying to do it all the time. You're trying to work hard. But then when you're in flow and you're kind of tapping into your spiritual gifts, you kind of just know what is that one thing you need to work on for it to generate like exponential results, and having that kind of clarity and just focusing on that one thing and doing that one thing really well helps you do things with a lot more flow, ease, and a lot more fulfillment. So you're not burning out. You're not like hurting your body. You're not like compromising on your sleep, but you're kind of doing everything with equal capacity. So I think that the biggest myth of hard work is that we're told that it has to be the hustle, and the person that hustles the most is going to win, and it's actually not true.
Thank you for busting that myth, Marisha. So next question is, at just 10 years old, you are
Yeah.
selling hand-painted t-shirts at 300% margin. If
Yeah.
someone's starting out today, what's one simple lesson from that experience that they can apply even without a big budget or fancy tools?
Um, I think it's also just the concept of knowing that money is actually energy and money exchanges very easily. So we grew up thinking, I'm from an Indian background as well, right? So I think our parents raised us where we're like, oh, it's scarcity. You're going to work hard. You got to get like a degree and you got to do this. And it's like all of this kind of notion, but actually money is actually very easy to make. And if you have a gift or you have a service or you have any idea, that can be translated into money. So it's what you can create. So whether you have something that you can teach, whether it's something that you can build, whether it's something you can, anything you can do can be converted into money. So that experience, I just realized how easy it was to make money. And from then I was making like a lot of money. Like I think when my friends were trying to figure out their first job, I was already making like a pretty good amount of money doing nothing, like selling things on eBay, like collecting memorabilia, looking for like antiques and doing like random things. Um, and like working maybe like an hour, 2 hours a day, like just living in complete flow. um but it's just that concept of abundance, that it's there for everyone. It doesn't mean that if I have some, someone else has less. And anything can be converted into money. It's just perceived value, so it's what someone is willing to pay for it. And then that kind of like led me on my entrepreneurial journey of I even wanted to write a book of like 100 ways to make $100, because it was so easy to just make money.
Yeah, that's awesome, Marisha. Really. Thank you. Marisha, a lot of people do marketing, but very
Yeah.
few actually understand it. What's the
Yeah.
real difference between the two? Like, and how does that difference show up in results?
I think it's really understanding the consumer and what they're experiencing, because when a customer buys something, there's something that they're trying to solve. Um, there's some sort of psychological trigger, right? And if you can understand the psychology of the human being, like why do they buy, like what triggers them, what are they looking for? Is it status? Is it a pain that you're trying to solve? Once you really understand that, you'll be able to do better marketing, because you'll speak to that person. Versus a lot of marketing right now is so flashy. It's cool. It looks cool. The designs look cool. Great colors, great fonts, but then does it really speak to the human, right? So I feel like great marketing actually speaks to the human psyche and kind of can communicate with someone one-on-one.
Yes, absolutely, Marisha. Marisha, a lot of people feel hesitation or even embarrassment when it comes to selling. Like marketing means something pushy. How do you view marketing and how can people shift their mindset around it?
Yeah, I always get that, because people always, when you in marketing, we have like countdown timers and we have scarcity and we have like, oh, there's a sale. You have like the sale ends on in 3 days, and there's a lot of these like nudges that we use in marketing, and these nudges are psychological. And the reason why they're designed like that is because human beings will delay decision making. Human beings put things off. That's just how we're wired, right? So once you understand that human beings are like that, then it's like, how do you nudge them to take action faster? It's the same way as going to the gym. So why do people hire personal trainers? It's because if I left an individual to go to the gym, even though that's the right thing to do, and even though they know it's the right thing, they will not do it. You know, they will not do it, and they need a nudge, they need a push, they need some sort of accountability for them to make the right decisions. So to me, I feel like marketing, if you're selling the right product and your product delivers value, and it's for someone's betterment, you should not be afraid to be pushy or to use these tactics, because human beings are wired to need that push. But I think where there's a fine line is when you're selling something like cigarettes, and that's not necessarily better for humanity. um, but you're using all of these tactics, and you're selling to maybe like kids that might not know better, or that are doing this to just be cool. Then I feel like there's a line between that ethic. But
Yes,
ideally, I feel like marketing requires a lot more like tactics and push and everything, but that's just how human beings are wired. And if you're confident with what you sell, you sell a good product, I feel like I don't see the harm in leveraging.
that's powerful perspective, Marisha. Really, that's really powerful. I liked it. Marisha, what is the bike shed trap, and why does it matter in decision making?
No, but you tell
Like,
me, because you have to remind me on what it is, because I've heard about it.
yeah, so like there's a nuclear plant where people are
Yeah,
trying to build it, but the majority of the time that they put on the decision was about the bike shed rather than the
yeah,
important things. Like people, like when it comes to important stuff, they spend less time, but on unnecessary stuff, fluff, they're spending more time these days. So
yeah,
I saw one of your reels and tried to convert it to a question.
yeah. No, but it's true, because so what happens is that, and it happens in business as well, right? Like there's a lack of prioritization, especially now with AI and all of these things. People are moving a lot faster, so they're able to innovate, execute a lot faster, and because of that, they're trying to do more. And when you're trying to do more, you're not being able to prioritize what actually has the biggest impact.
Hmm.
you know and then when you're doing that, you land up doing so much but actually not moving the needle in a big way. And this is a lot of companies actually, they probably have overhired, they're probably doing so much innovation, probably doing all of these things, but it might not necessarily be the best way forward because they haven't prioritized. And there's even stats about this now, like every company is leveraging AI. They're spending 10 months on integrating AI into their company with all these cool bells and whistles. And 2025, 42% of companies dropped the AI dream because they're building the wrong AI. And what is worse? The worst is falling behind on AI or building the wrong AI. It's building the wrong AI because you waste resources, you waste time, you waste energy, so many things. And the real problem is the clarity and the lack of prioritization, you know. And I also do that with numbers, right? So for example, as marketers, you get a lot of numbers. When you get a lot of like everything that I'm tracking, like all the funnels and everything, there's a conversion rate for each step of the way. But the truth is, as a CMO, like what do I need to look at? I just need to look at my CAC and LTV. There's two numbers that will give you the entire picture of where we're going as a company and how profitable we're going to be. But I can tell you how few people focus on those numbers, and they actually focus on all the small little details of like the landing page conversion rate. But in the grand scheme of things, that impacts you like, nothing, right? So I think that there's a I think people forget that there's a level of prioritization, and that level of ruthless prioritization needs to happen not only on a quarterly basis, on a monthly basis, or on a daily basis. So every single day I go on my calendar and I'm like, what is the single most important thing I need to do today to really drive results? And sometimes it's not being in 5 meetings.
Yes, Marisha. Really, that's really awesome. Thank you for sharing that. Marisha, why is referral marketing is such a powerful strategy for customer acquisition, especially in today's crowded market?
Because we are now designed like the way they consume the new shop front of how people are buying is social media. And social media is ideally giving people trust into a brand. So when you go to social media and you check out a brand, you're seeing people commenting on the brand, you're seeing the content they put out, you're seeing how they engage with their customers, you're seeing testimonials and referrals. So basically, like, people are now buying through this word of mouth style. They're no longer looking at an ad and they're like, oh, I saw this ad and now I want to buy. Even the ads that are working right now are user generated content. They are technically referrals. So referrals are now becoming like the biggest trust badge. And referrals, not only like on a product level in an ad like UGC or social media, it's helping customers not only discover but actually build trust in the product, and also create a level of loyalty. Because if I come and tell you right now, like, hey, you got to try this skincare, it is so good, immediately your expectations improve. There might even be a level of placebo that the skincare works for you a little bit and you're like, oh my god, it works, and you'll tell 10 other people, so it's just the kind of marketing, it's the world we live in right now, and it's the kind of marketing that's working right now. And people are getting smarter and smarter over time. They're seeing through the ads, they're seeing through the bullshit, and they're now trusting someone else to tell them if they liked it, and then kind of go for it. So as a business, you need to harness that. It's not just expect it to happen. It doesn't just happen. You got to harness it. So in your product, how can you get people to make referrals? How can you reward people for making referrals? How can you leverage more user generated content? Because if you look at certain brands like Fashion Nova is the most mentioned fashion brand in the world. They get like 17 million mentions a month. Like, it's wild. But how do they do it? So they create user generated content, and then other people who see the user generated content also create user generated content, and everyone just lands up talking about the brand. So it's engineered.
Yeah, yes, Marisha, very powerful. Marisha, in the early days of Mind Valley, what were the
Yeah.
one, two decisions that felt small but ended up being game changers later?
So becoming a subscription company,
Mm.
so becoming a subscription company, it started off as a test. So we were looking at our CAC and LTV. We were like, oh, every time we have to sell a course, we have to resell to the same customer. We have to run the same ads and everything. Why don't we become a subscription so they go in? It's because our costs were 100, like 199, like 299, same price as subscription. But I'm like, what if they just go in and then they buy a subscription for the full year and they can just do as many courses as they want? But it's a subscription business model, so your valuation is like 14x of the company. And then you market to them once, but then as an active member you can promote other products, events, and all that stuff. So it started off as a test. We're like, let's A/B test it, and then we A/B tested it, and it started to produce better revenue. So we thought we'll go with it. So that, I think that was a massive decision. And then another massive decision was, again, started off as a test, which was like localization. So we dubbed our entire funnel to Spanish, because Spanish is a massive market. So we dubbed it into Spanish, and then we just ran it as a test to the Spanish speaking market, and the return on ad spend was super high. And then we were like, okay, like, that is amazing. So now can we do other courses? Can we like really build a Spanish division? Can we focus on other markets? Maybe we'll do German next. So I feel like these ideas that crop up, and then you just dive in and you try it out and you test it out, and then that immediately just becomes like its own division.
That's so interesting, Marisha, really. Marisha, what is one branding mistake you often see in new education platforms, especially those focused on personal growth?
Um, I feel like in personal development, like a lot of people try to copy. And I think that's in marketing as well, right? So they'll look at the next person and they'll say, okay, that's what they're doing. Let's just copy everything that they're doing without actually understanding why they're doing what they're doing. So without understanding and saying, okay, why do they have a video here? Who is this video speaking to? Why do they have 5 emails versus 6 emails? Does this make sense for this product? So they don't really understand the nuances of why things are done, and they just copy and paste it. Because I can tell you in Mind Valley, like I can tell you how many people I've spoken to that are like, we look at your webinar, we look at your page and we copy it. But it's like, but what are you copying exactly? Like, why are you copying it? Because there's so much more you can do. Like, I think I have so much more room for improvement. Like, there's so much more we can do, but then it works for our audience. So there's things that I would like to do, and I've tried and tested it, but it doesn't work, so I have to revert back to the old way. So this works for our audience, but that doesn't necessarily work for your audience. And also it works for certain topics. Maybe like something might work for a spiritual audience but might not work for a longevity audience. So it's very important to succeed. You need to understand why you're doing those things and understand the nuances and kind of understand your customer base before you just blindly copy and just recreate things, because it will work for a while, but then how can you build like a $200 million brand just by borrowing?
Yes. Yes, Marisha. Yes, really. I have been seeing like a lot of copy pasting happening these days, but really.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. Marisha, what's one thing you would like to do differently if you are starting Mind Valley today from scratch with limited resources?
um from scratch, I really want to focus on a so Mind Valley is a marketing led company, so 99% of the revenue from the company comes from marketing. Ideally, I want it to be a product led company, which is what I'm trying to make it into. But it just somehow always stays being a marketing led company because the product has a lot of things to be built into to be able to evolve. So the difference is this: the difference is like if you look at companies like Calm and Headspace, they're a SaaS. So I send traffic like trial, go try this product 7 days. I send traffic, and my job as marketing is just to send traffic. Then once someone creates an account, the product will onboard them, the product will customize the experience, the product will send them all the personalized notifications and emails, and it's all done on a product level. In our case, it's all done on a marketing level. So I will create a webinar or a VSL. I will sell to the customer, they buy, and after they buy, I send them to the product and say, hey, go consume. So the product is a utility. And I feel like I would want to switch that because what we're doing in terms of being marketing led um, uh, is way more higher costs than being product led. Because product led, I can acquire like trial customers at like $5, and I can just pump in trial customers at $5 and build a massive list. But in my case, I have to convert someone on a video, so I have to get them to spend $300 on this one ad, which obviously increases my CAC. So to me, like if I had to start again, I would really relook at the business model. I'll focus more on being product led. I would have a larger engineering team. I'd focus on the onboarding and everything, and then it will become a super efficient business model to scale, kind of like Spotify and Come.
That's very insightful, Marisha. Thank you. Marisha, what is the right time to start building a team, and what roles should come first when scaling on an education startup? As an
So any startup, I think the building a team is the number one thing you do. So like I have other businesses as well. So I'm building AI SaaS.
age.
I have an agency. I have a bunch of companies and on outside Mind Valley. And the first thing I did was hire. Like first thing I did, like hire, because you have to have the most important thing is to have the best talent to be able to build it for you. And you need to attract those people, right? People with skills that you might not have, people with talent that you might not have, and to be able to build something like substantial. So the first thing you need to do is hire. I don't think you need to hire loads. Like I feel like people get excited and they're like, "Oh my god, a videographer, this, that," and they go and hire like a massive team. I don't think you need a massive team. I feel like AI can do a lot of things. That if you hire someone who really knows how to leverage AI, like one or two people is enough to basically get a lot of stuff done. Copy can be done, videos can be done, so much can be done with AI. But I think like whatever business you're building, you need to look at hiring some good talent, at least one or two, um, to to really help like execute and put things together, and then also challenge you
Mm.
on what you don't know, because
Yes.
otherwise you're just left to what you know, and that there's definitely a ceiling there.
Yeah. Yes, Marisha. I totally agree with that. Marisha, in your experience, what make people stick with the learning platform or the long term? Like how can we
Yeah.
design from day one?
I really think it's about there's two things. I think it's very simple, right? Because we always think about retention and we think retention is really overcomplicated. But I think it's really about like the promise that you make to your customer in the marketing, you need to deliver on that promise
Mm.
as fast as possible. So, for example, if I come and tell you that, oh my God, if you do this course, you're going to lose, 30 kilos in 1 month, and you don't lose 30 kilos in 1 month, you're done.
Mm.
you know but if I tell you that, oh, you have to do this course for 3 months, but you will lose 20 kilos, but you will, or 5 10 kilos in 3 months, but honestly it's more sustainable, you will not put the weight back on, and you're going to feel great, you're going to have more energy, your skin's going to look better and all that stuff, and you're in month one and you lose 2 kilos or 1.5, and you still have more to go, and you know that it is kind of delivering results. It's not it's not like
Mm.
over promising results, but you are delivering results. I feel like that builds more trust in authority, and customers will stick on. And once they have a little bit of results, like just a little bit of results, they're most likely to continue, because that's how human beings are wired. We like motivation. Imagine going to the gym every single day and seeing no results. Like you're gonna give up, right? But if you
Yes.
go to the gym and in 2 weeks someone tells you, "Oh, are you working out? You look different." In that one compliment, even though you haven't lost much weight, but that one compliment can already set your mind in this positive frequency where you're motivated to keep going and continue, right? It builds that momentum for you. So I feel like that is it. It's as simple as like whatever promise you make, you got to see how fast you can actually deliver the promise. So don't try to over promise, because then if you under deliver, you've lost them.
Wow. That's powerful, really powerful, Marisha. Uh, Marisha, for content creators who are also trying to build a brand or any platform, how should their marketing strategy be different from traditional businesses?
Content creators have to focus on two things only. So the content creators have to focus on like really creating original content. So again, not trying to copy and paste what's on social media, because everything is copy and paste on social media at this point. But like, can you think of a format or a style of video that's yours? So for example, you say you interview the best minds and convert it to Telugu. That's a unique edge. No one's doing that. So that's your thing, and you just keep doing that. And that's one thing that you do well. You keep going with that. So that's the first thing. It's like have a unique kind of format and just keep going with that format. And second is list building. I can tell you like how many content creators, they don't build an email list, but the number one thing you need to do is build an email list. Like, so how can you get people? So for example, even a podcast, how can you say, hey, add your email here, or download the free something, free quiz, free thing, or put your email here and I will notify you when the next episode drops. Or you can request a guest, or you can attend live, or you can ask questions to our next guest. So you can give them some value, but they have to give you their email, and then you can notify them when the episodes drop. Maybe you decide one day you want to do a live podcast. You're in Mumbai, you decide you want to do a live podcast, you can invite people. Next day you decide you want to do a course, you want to do whatever you want to do, you can sell to these people, and they will buy from you, and you can do anything. But you can't do that if you don't have a list, and you can't communicate with the people that are already liking your content.
Mm.
So the biggest mistake any and every business makes is not building a list and not focusing on building a list.
Very powerful. Thank you, Marisha. Marisha, like this is a follow up question, kind of. So, as a new platform, it's tempting to do everything: courses, community, giveaways, podcasts. But how do
Yeah,
you how do you know what to include early on and what to leave out? Like when you are building a transformation based brand, how do you
yeah.
decide whether to go all in on a few powerful offerings or try to do as many things as possible to attract and retain users?
I think the answer is always to go all in on a few things. So, for example, like you decide which social media channel to go for, right? You shouldn't go for every single social media channel. You should go hard on one. So maybe you decide my audience, because I'm like online education, my audience is more YouTube. You make all your content YouTube first, and you can snip it up and you can distribute it across all channels, but you're making your content YouTube first. If you feel like your business is B2B, you focus on LinkedIn, and you're like your most of your content is designed for LinkedIn. Then you can repurpose it and put it anywhere else, but you're designing it for LinkedIn. Same thing with your product. So you don't need to have 5 products. There's so many $1 million brands that are based on one product.
Yes.
So after you build your one product and maybe you get it to a certain level, you can give yourself a target. There's no right answer, but maybe you give yourself a target like, oh, if I hit my first million, I'll go to my second product, or just see how fast your growth is. But ideally, you want to give it like 6 months to a year before you launch your second product, not just like constantly launching new products. Because if one product already, how much percent of your market are you tapping in with one product? Like not even a percent. So there's still a lot of room to grow, and it's much better to kind of like build that and build the momentum instead of like spreading yourself too thin. So everything you're doing, you have to think about what is the one or two things that I can focus on that's actually going to give exponential results. And it's with everything. So for social media as well, like if I were to think about everything, every single platform, and produce content in all different ways, I will never be able to scale any platform, because you know how nuanced the platforms are. It's so nuanced. But if I just think like for me, I always think Instagram first. So if I always think Instagram first, I'm always going to create like viral content for Instagram, you know, and then I can at least scale Instagram and I can do a great job there. But otherwise, you're like master of all. So like I forgot what's the
Yeah.
phrase again. You
Master of
know,
all trades and none,
yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
yeah,
Jack of all
something like
trades
that.
or something.
Jack of all trades and
Yeah.
master of none.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yes, Marisha. Marisha, if someone wants to grow a brand or a platform today, not just
yeah.
slowly but meaningfully and fast, what are your top three pieces of advice that almost no one is actually doing?
The first advice I would say is to use your face. Like whatever brand you're building, whether it's okay, podcast, you're using your face, but if you're building like a SaaS, a skincare, whatever product, the brands that are founder led, that have a founder's face and a founder's story, they work exponentially, like way more successful. They grow way more faster. So it's much more better to include yourself, create content. So that's the first thing I would say, like use your face. I also think creating content, no matter what brand you're in, whether you like any human being, I think the one of the most important skills that you need to have is content creation, because right now that's the world we're living in. Like if I create content online right now and I can build my brand and a following, I will never have to worry about money or work ever again. Like if someone asks me for my resume, they can just go to my social media. So
Yes.
I feel like that is it's such a powerful skill that a lot people don't the people like they underestimate. They feel like, oh, I'm not really good at creating content, or I feel shy in front of camera. I don't think it's important for me because I'm an engineer. But I think every single person should be creating a certain level of content, and building a certain level of audience. And then like number three would be like list building. I feel like list building is something that people overlook, but it's so important to have a list. And I'll tell you a funny story, because I was on holiday and I told you I'm launching a SaaS on like AI agents. So I was on holiday and I wanted to test the waters to see how do people like it, and like, do they like this agents that I'm building, and like what is the feedback, and I want to do it live on a call. So I basically just announced to my list that I'm doing this call, and I wanted like 30 people to join, and 30 people joined, and I made like quite a bit of money from just 1 hour of like showing them how to use one agent. So, and then they also gave me a lot of feedback, and it gave me a lot of testimonials. So now I have testimonials for my product, I have feedback for my product, and I also made money from the call. And that's because I have a list. I have people to communicate to, people that trust me, people that want to know more about what I'm working on. So I feel like tomorrow I can go in. Like in the past, I was selling like ebooks and about marketing and growth. Now I'm selling AI agents. And tomorrow, if I want to sell something else, I feel like they will still trust me and still want to work with me.
Mm.
So that's important. And building the list is something that people just don't pay a lot of attention to.
Manisha, actually, that's so brilliant, and thank you for taking time for answering those three advices. And there's a friend of mine called Sharani, and
Yeah.
when I told that you are coming, and she was really excited, and she had a couple of questions. If you have time,
Oh, sure.
ask. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the first question is, what internal mindset shift helped you to evolve into the role of a growth leader beyond strategy?
Um, okay, so I think personally for me, I feel like it's really about being intentional. So it's really about being intentional. And then for me, I'm not trying to win. I am trying to, I want my entire team to win. So I'm very intentional with how I show up. what I work on, how I take care of them, what we're going to do. I have a lot of clarity. Like, this is the clarity, this is what we're going to do, and everyone needs to know. And I share information with everyone. If I don't have the answer to certain things, I'm very open with everyone, but I'm very intentional. And what this does is it builds trust as a leader.
Mm.
And once you have trust as a leader, um, you can build the best team. Because if your team can trust you to guide them, protect them, lead them, they will go beyond, above and beyond. And I feel like a lot of leaders, they focus more on the strategy, and they're like, oh, strategy and the numbers, but they don't spend enough time focusing on how can I build trust with my team, safety with my team, and how do I make them feel like I have got their back through thick and thin. And then it feels like a family. So like my team, whenever I travel, I meet ex members of my team in whichever city I go to.
Oh,
So
awesome.
that bond has not broken. And right now I feel like my team is so loyal to me that if I were to leave Mind Valley, my team would leave Mind Valley. Like that's the level we've built. But it comes down from like really having their back. So for example, if there's a mess up or something goes wrong, I that's my fault. I take the blunt the blame for it, because it was under my purview. But if something goes right, then I don't want the credit for it. I want each of them to take credit for it. I want to celebrate them. So it's this level of like being intentional, building trust and actually building those relationships. And people don't do it enough.
That's powerful leadership right there, Marisha.
Yeah.
Really, really, I like your answer very much. Marisha, what's your personal growth ritual that keeps you centered in chaos?
Okay, so I have a spiritual GPT, and my spiritual GPT has told me that I'm more inclined to music. And also, like, I've done my circle DNA, and it always says I'm musically gifted. So I kind of realized that I'm more inclined to music and sounds more than I am to like journaling and writing. So I start my day with listening to music, and I end my day with listening to music, and I'm just constantly listening to music. But I feel like this has helped me a lot. Like, for example, like my nervous system is so relaxed, I am so calm through during my day. My head is more clear. I actually perform better in the gym. I actually lost a lot of, like, I lost 4 kg since I bought like Apple headphones,
Yes.
and I started
Yeah.
listening to music
Okay.
every
Okay.
single day like a ritual.
Uh-huh.
I started to lose weight because my body was my nervous system relaxed, and I wasn't always in flight, fight or flight. So to me, I feel like music and sound is such a, like, they can do sound healing, you can listen to
Mm.
whatever. But music is such a powerful tool. And that's my personal ritual. So working out and music. So I start my day, I always listen to music when I wake up, and then I will work out, and then I start my day.
That's interesting, Marisha. Marisha, you mentioned something called spiritual GPT. Can I ask what is it?
Yeah, so it's like so basically I built this GPT for myself. That's like my spiritual guide. I have a GPT for everything. So I have like the marketing one, then I have one for like health and fitness, which tells me like which peptides to use and how to train and which day, and supplements that I got to take. And then I also have my spiritual GPT, which helps me make sense of things. So for example, like if I'm struggling with something mentally or emotionally, and then I can chat with it and make sense of it and say like, okay, why is this happening, and what does this mean, and can you explain this to me? And it knows my East, like my Vedic astrology and my Western astrology and my astrocartography and like all my stuff. And then
Yeah.
it basically is able to like give me like really good advice, about like what's happening in the world, and or like what's happening to me, and why certain scenarios are this way, or why I'm reacting to the scenarios, or what do I have to learn from each scenario. Like, because everything that happens in your life is a lesson, right? It's a test.
Mm.
So I learned that. And I honestly am like, I'm super addicted to it. And it's so funny because I speak to so many people about it, and they're all like, I have one too. So
Okay.
it's a thing. Yeah, everyone kind of has one.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that, Marisha. Marisha, last question. Would you like to issue a 7-day challenge to our subscribers? It could be anything.
Yeah, I would. I think the 7-day challenge I would like to issue would be to 7 days of creating content. So pick a topic, pick a niche. So how you're going to do this is you have to take a piece of paper. You have to write down like 5 things that you are super good at, and 5 things that really excite you, and figure out a content angle that you can pick before that, within that. Maybe you really love travel, and what really excites you is like fashion, and you want to talk about like lifestyle and fashion and travel. So pick a niche, and then 7 days you have to record a reel, a minute a day, just anything.
That would be a great start, and that could be something of great things, beginning of something. So, yeah. So thank you, Marisha, for coming to the show. And see,
But you
you
haven't told
answered.
them but you haven't told them the second part. So
Oh, sorry.
if
Yeah, sorry.
they do the challenge, right? They do the challenge 7 days. They have to tag your channel,
Okay. That's
and then
awesome.
you can send me the best ones. But they tag your channel so we can see who. Because what happens when you create content? It's not just about you wanting to be an influencer. It helps you improve your how you communicate. It helps improve how you show up. It helps improve your confidence. It helps improve everything. So 7 days of boosting your confidence and working on your articulation is a great challenge. So they have to do 7 days, 7 videos, seven like a minute each, and then they have to tag your channel, and then you can share with me the best ones.
I would definitely do that, Marisha. Marisha, thank you so much for coming to the show and helping us get enlightened about so much of fun stuff and marketing. And thank you so much.
Awesome, thank you. Subscribe to BNS Go Cook Great.